Have you ever wondered if that special someone wants to kiss you, but the fear of rejection holds you back? In the next few minutes, you'll discover how to interpret the invisible signals they're sending through their eyes. This is the skill that transforms ordinary people into experts in human connection. The language of the eyes is the most honest of all. While the mouth can lie, the eyes always reveal the truth, and mastering this language will give you a power that very few possess. Neil Strauss, in his studies on human interaction, discovered that there's a specific pattern in the gaze of someone who wants to kiss you, a code that once learned, you can never unsee. The first signal that reveals romantic interest is in the dilation of the pupils, that subtle but undeniable change that occurs when someone sees something they desire. Neil Strauss called it the windows of desire because biologically we cannot control this reaction. When we're face to face with someone we're attracted to, our pupils automatically dilate, allowing more light to enter and enabling us to capture more details of what we like. Have you ever noticed how someone's eyes seem darker when they look at you with interest? It's not coincidence or your imagination, it's pure brain chemistry. To verify this signal, try this simple exercise. The next time you're in an intimate conversation, discreetly observe the size of the other person's pupils when they talk to you, and compare it to when they talk to others. If you notice a difference, if their pupils expand when they look directly at you, you have your first confirmation. Mentally repeat, I can see what others cannot see, I can understand the invisible signals. But it's not just dilation that matters. There's a specific rhythm to the gaze that Neil Strauss identified as crucial. When someone is thinking about kissing you, their eyes will follow a path, from your eyes to your mouth and back to your eyes. This triangular movement is almost involuntary and occurs because the brain is literally visualizing what it wants to do. They're looking at your lips because they're imagining the contact. How many opportunities have you missed by not recognizing this clear signal? Knowledge is power, and this particular knowledge can completely transform your romantic life. If you want different results, you need different information. If this video is already proving useful to you, make sure to like and subscribe to receive more content that will transform how you connect with others. And we'll talk about that in the next point because the triangular gaze is just the beginning. The second infallible indicator is found in the duration of eye contact. Neil Strauss called it the sustained gaze game, and it's one of the most powerful indicators of romantic interest. Under normal conditions, eye contact between two people usually lasts between 2 and 3 seconds before it becomes uncomfortable, but when there's attraction, this time naturally extends. Have you noticed how some people seem to get lost in your gaze? Or how you yourself find it difficult to look away from someone you're attracted to? It's no coincidence. When someone maintains eye contact for more than 4 seconds without blinking, without feeling uncomfortable, something profound is happening at a neurological level. Their brains are literally flooding with oxytocin, the bonding and trust hormone. Try this test. The next time you're in a conversation with someone you're interested in, hold the gaze 1 second longer than would be normal. Not in an intimidating way, but with warmth. If the other person maintains contact instead of looking away, and better yet, if they smile while doing so, you have an unmistakable signal of interest. Neil Strauss emphasized that this game of glances is like a silent dance, an exchange of energy that precedes any physical contact. When two people who are attracted to each other look into each other's eyes, he said, they are kissing with their gaze before they do it with their lips. This phrase contains a profound truth about how human connections work. But be careful because it's not just the duration that matters, but also the naturalness. A forced gaze creates rejection, while a genuine gaze creates magnetism. Repeat after me. My eyes speak what my lips are silent about, and I can read the same language in others. The problem with most people is that they're so focused on what they're going to say next that they miss these obvious signals. They're so worried about impressing with words that they forget that the deepest communication happens in silence, through gazes that say much more than any clever phrase. And we'll talk about that in the next point, because it's not just what you see in their eyes, but what happens around them. The third infallible indicator is found in the facial micro-expressions that accompany the gaze. Neil Strauss spent years studying these almost imperceptible signals that last fractions of a second but reveal genuine emotions impossible to fake. When someone is romantically interested in you, their eyes don't act alone. There's a softening in the muscles around the eyes. The famous crow's feet appear slightly, even in young people, and this happens because they're experiencing a genuine positive emotion when they see you. This type of smile, the one that reaches the eyes, is what scientists call a Duchenne smile, and it's practically impossible to fake. Have you ever noticed how some smiles seem empty while others light up the entire face? The difference is precisely in the eyes. When someone smiles only with their mouth but their eyes remain unchanged, they're offering a social smile, a courtesy. But when the eyes participate, when they slightly narrow and those small wrinkles appear in the corners, you're witnessing an authentic emotion. Exercise your observation skills with this challenge. In your next social interaction, notice how many smiles reach the eyes and how many stay just on the lips. Soon you'll develop a radar for emotional authenticity that will be invaluable to you. Neil Strauss claimed that those who know how to read micro-expressions have an evolutionary advantage over others because they can see the truth even when someone is trying to hide it. This ability allows you to make decisions based on real information, not on what others want you to believe. Another fascinating aspect of micro-expressions is that they're universal. No matter the culture, language, or social customs, genuine romantic interest manifests in the same way in the eyes of a European, an Asian, or a Latin American. It's part of our biological hardware, not our cultural programming. If what you're learning seems valuable, don't keep it just for yourself. Share this video with someone you think could benefit from this knowledge. Understanding nonverbal language is a superpower in a world where most people only pay attention to words. And we'll talk about that in the next point, because there's a fourth indicator that reveals romantic interest through the gaze, and this has to do with eye synchronization. Neil Strauss called it the mirror of the soul, because when two people feel mutual attraction, their gaze patterns begin to synchronize unconsciously. This phenomenon, scientifically known as mirroring, occurs when your brain tries to establish a deep connection with someone who interests you. Automatically, you start to blink at the same rhythm as the other person, to follow their eye movements, and to adopt a similar pattern of eye contact. The fascinating thing is that you can use this knowledge in two ways: to detect if someone likes you and to generate attraction. When you notice that someone naturally synchronizes their gaze with yours, a neurological harmonization is occurring that precedes physical connection. On the other hand, if you consciously synchronize your blinking rhythm and eye movements with those of someone you're attracted to, you'll be sending subliminal signals of compatibility. Neil Strauss explained that when two people are emotionally in tune, their bodies know it before their minds do. This principle clearly manifests in how our eyes behave in the presence of someone who attracts us. It's like an invisible dance, where both follow the same music without having agreed to do so. Do this practical exercise. Pay attention to how someone's blinking rhythm changes when they start talking to you compared to when they talk to others. If you notice synchronization, if their eyes seem to follow the rhythm of yours, you have another confirmation of romantic interest. The problem is that most people never develop this sensitivity to nonverbal signals. They live in a world of words and miss the rich language of the eyes, that primitive and honest language that our ancestors mastered out of necessity. In an era of text messages and digital communication, we've forgotten how to read the most basic signs of human connection. Repeat this mantra: I see beyond words. I understand the silent language of the eyes. When you internalize this mindset, you begin to perceive dimensions of communication that were previously invisible to you. And we'll talk about that in the next point, because there's a fifth definitive indicator in the gaze of someone who wants to kiss you, and this has to do with what Neil Strauss called the glow of vulnerability. When someone is romantically and sexually interested in you, there's a subtle but perceptible change in the brightness of their eyes, a combination of vulnerability and desire that's unmistakable once you learn to recognize it. This special glow occurs due to two physiological factors. First, a slight increase in tear production that makes the eyes literally shine more, and second, the dilation of small blood vessels that intensify the color of the iris. These subtle changes are completely involuntary and are controlled by the autonomic nervous system, the same one that accelerates our heart when we're excited. What makes this signal so powerful is that it cannot be faked. Unlike a smile or even prolonged eye contact, which can be forced to some extent, this particular glow is a biological response to desire. It's the physical manifestation of emotional vulnerability, that moment when someone is opening themselves up to the possibility of intimate connection with you. Neil Strauss said that the eyes reveal what the heart fears to say. This phrase perfectly captures the essence of what we're talking about. Many times, especially in the early stages of attraction, people aren't ready to verbalize their feelings, but their eyes are already confessing everything. Exercise your ability to recognize this special glow by paying attention to how someone's eyes change when the conversation becomes more intimate or when there's accidental light physical contact between you. If you notice an increase in brightness, along with the other indicators we've discussed, you're receiving the clearest invitation possible. The interesting thing is that you also emit these signals when you're interested in someone. The next time you look in the mirror, thinking about the person you're attracted to, observe your own eyes and you'll notice that same glow. Knowing your own pattern will help you recognize it in others. This is the time for you to take the next step in your personal development. If you've enjoyed this content and want to delve deeper into the art of human connection, make sure to activate the notification bell after subscribing so you don't miss any videos. Mastery of the language of eyes gives you an extraordinary advantage in all your romantic interactions. Imagine being able to know with certainty when someone is interested in you, being able to read the signals correctly and act at the precise moment. Rejection becomes much less likely when you advance only when all indicators are aligned. Neil Strauss emphasized that timing is everything in seduction. Too soon and you seem desperate, too late and the opportunity vanishes. But when you act at the exact moment when the other person's eyes are telling you yes, magic happens naturally. The most important conclusion from everything we've discussed is that the language of eyes transcends words and social masks. It's an ancestral communication system that still works exactly the same as it did thousands of years ago. While verbal communication has evolved and become complicated, the eyes continue to transmit the same basic truths about attraction and desire. Think about this. How many opportunities have you lost by not knowing how to correctly interpret the signals? How many times was someone interested in you, telling you with their eyes, and you didn't know how to read the message? The knowledge you've just acquired will allow you not only to identify romantic interest with precision, but also to respond appropriately, creating moments of authentic connection. The dilated gaze that reveals desire, the sustained eye contact that indicates trust, the micro-expressions that show genuine emotion, the synchronization that demonstrates compatibility, and the special glow that signals vulnerability and openness. These 5 indicators, when they appear together, constitute the clearest possible signal that someone is ready for a kiss. But remember, this knowledge comes with responsibility. It's not about manipulating, but about deeply understanding human communication to create more authentic and satisfying connections. As Neil Strauss said, true seduction isn't about tricks, but about being the best version of yourself and knowing how to recognize who is genuinely interested in that version. Now you have a superpower that very few possess. The next time you're in front of someone you're attracted to, observe their eyes carefully. If you see the signals we've discussed, you'll know it's not your imagination, that the interest is real and that the moment to act has arrived. I want you to comment below with this statement to reaffirm your commitment to this new knowledge. I choose to see beyond words and understand the universal language of eyes. Let the world know that you're no longer the same person as before, that you now possess a deeper understanding of human communication. And if this video has been valuable to you, share it with someone you think could benefit from this knowledge. Subscribe now, activate the notification bell, and prepare yourself to continue developing human connection skills that will change your life forever. Because understanding the language of eyes is just the beginning of a fascinating journey toward deeper and more satisfying relationships. The power of recognizing when someone wants to kiss you through their gaze isn't just a skill for romance. It's a window into a deeper understanding of human emotions. And when you understand emotions, you understand the world. Have you noticed how some people seem to have a radar for romantic connections? How they always seem to make the right move at the right time? It's not luck or a natural gift. It's this same skill you're learning now, perfected through conscious observation and practice. Neil Strauss discovered in his research that the most successful people in the romantic realm aren't necessarily the most physically attractive, but the most attentive to these nonverbal signals. They're people who have learned to be completely present in the moment, observing with all their senses, especially with their eyes. The irony is that in an era where we're constantly distracted by our devices, this skill has become even more valuable precisely because it's rarer. While most are looking at their phones, you'll be looking into people's eyes, connecting at a level that many have forgotten exists. There's a final exercise I want to share with you, something Neil Strauss recommended to develop your sensitivity to ocular signals. For a week, practice what he called eye meditation. It consists of spending 5 minutes each day simply observing the eyes of different people, either in person or even in high-resolution videos. Don't look for anything in particular. Just familiarize yourself with the wide range of ocular expressions that exist. After 7 days, you'll notice that your ability to read nuances in the gaze has significantly improved. Remember that knowledge without action is useless. It's not enough to understand these signals. You must be willing to respond to them when you see them. Many opportunities for connection are lost, not due to lack of recognition, but due to fear of acting accordingly. The next time you see the 5 indicators we've discussed in the gaze of someone special to you, pupil dilation, triangular gaze, sustained eye contact, genuine micro-expressions, and that special glow, find the courage to take the next step. It can be as simple as a light touch on the arm or leaning slightly forward to close the distance between you. The moment of the kiss, when it comes naturally after having correctly read the signals, becomes a transcendental experience. It's not just physical contact, but the culmination of a silent dialogue you've been maintaining through your gazes. Neil Strauss expressed it perfectly when he said that a kiss doesn't begin with the lips but with the eyes. This phrase encapsulates the essence of everything we've explored. The physical kiss is simply the external manifestation of a connection that has already been established through the silent language of the gaze. Now you possess an understanding that places you in the small percentage of people who truly understand how human attraction works at a pre-verbal level. Use this knowledge responsibly to create authentic connections and moments of genuine intimacy. I choose to see beyond words and understand the universal language of eyes. Do you? Prove it by leaving your comment below and sharing this video with someone who needs this knowledge. Subscribe now, activate notifications, and prepare to transform your life through a deep understanding of human nature.